Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're hopping into the new arena that has just come out on OPTC Global versus Franosuke. Now, unfortunately, I am at work at the moment, so I have sort of put together 4 rush teams for you guys. If you guys are around tomorrow, I will be streaming, and we'll be taking some requests and building some more teams, as I do have a couple other teams that I really wanted to test out today. But in today's video, ViviBecca reigns supreme. Unfortunately, I did have to include her in pretty much every single one of my teams, whether it be V2 or V1. So hopefully you guys do have at least V1 ViviBecca, as they help out a lot on this particular piece of content. So let's take a quick look at what this Franosuke actually does. If we head down the bottom, oh my gosh, unprepared stumped. All right, let's have a look at what he actually does. He's a very good unit. He removes all beneficial effects placed on the crew, reduces attack down and despair by 4 turns, doubles damage dealt to defense down for 1 turn after 1 turn, and then if you land 2 perfects, he sets all the defense to 0. So you get that clock buff, and then you get the perfect hit buff. So he's a pretty good unit for like a utility, and then also damage against defense down if you can actually apply that. So let's take a quick look at the teams that I have put together for you guys today. So like I said, we do have 4 teams for this particular video. Where the hell is my start? There we go. So the first team is utilizing the new V2 ViviBecca. They're basically built for this particular piece of content. The Hina and the Kobe are very, very good for this as well, so hopefully you guys farm them up. And then obviously the 2 new batch, they help out quite a lot, as they can remove damage reduction on the final stage, and Leo can remove chain lock on the 3rd stage, which is super, super nice. On to the next team, we are utilizing double V, well, versus Kaido, I should say. The only way this team actually works is if we actually have the support of Caesar. Caesar can remove 2 turns of blind, which is very, very important for the final stage, as you can only remove that blind if you have a support when you pop a special, or if the character itself removes it, like the new V2 ViviBecca. This team is pretty much built around Dex units, which works very, very well. If you guys don't have page 1, you could use something like Rare Recruit Jack. ViviBecca, unfortunately, is pretty much essential on this particular team. Corazon with the law support helps out a lot, and then the Luffy and Zoro with Rayleigh support is amazing to remove Blind and Despair on stage 4, as well as getting our verse meter up nice and fast, as there are no normal attacks only until the final stage. The next team, we are utilizing a full cerebral based team, utilizing Shanks Crew as our leader and a friend V2 ViviBecca. So Shanks Crew is just still clapping content. We do have the Markino support, but it isn't essential if you do have Basil Hawkins, as Basil Hawkins can actually use the X-Drake support to remove 2 turns of the chain lock on the Usopp stage. You just need to make sure that you kill Usopp. That is very, very important. You need to kill Usopp, otherwise you will get paralysis, and then the support of the Straw Hats will proc, and then you just sort of up Ship Creek without a battle. But this team actually worked really, really well. It had a lot of damage. I imagine with this particular team, you could actually replace Vivi and Rebecca, as you don't really need that chain lock on the final stage, and you don't need their orb manipulation. So you could easily replace V1 ViviBecca with someone like Alvida, or even I would say you could use someone maybe like what's her name, Praline, but she rotates orbs, which you can't do on the final stage. So I think Alvida is probably your best option if you are looking for a replacement for ViviBecca. Once again, we have Hina on this particular team. She's awesome. She's boosted in this event as well, which helps out quite a bit. And then we literally just have this Robbie here for the support of the Straw Hats and the fact that she's a cerebral and a quick unit. The final team is actually a Luffy Sanji with a friend Roger team. So this team actually worked very, very well. Something to note though is we basically need the support of Markino on our Shanks. If you don't have that, you can probably use the special of Cracker, as you do need to make sure that you kill Usohachi on stage 3, otherwise you get paralysis. The support of Law, the support of Corazon on Law will trigger, and then it's the same issue with one of the previous teams. We do have ViviBecca here once again. We have the support of Nami on Luffy and Sanji, and that's basically it. So that's enough about the teams. Let's hop into the runs. Alright, so team number 1, we're utilizing V2 ViviBecca and the new batch, including the new unit. So, as I mentioned in the opening, or the intro, the Kobe and the Hina are actually amazing for this particular piece of content, because they can actually give an orb buff and an attack buff, and they can remove all the nasty defects that you get inflicted on stage 4. Just make sure that they are down the bottom. That is very, very important, as you do need them to remove the block orbs, the bind, the despair, basically, and they just basically do everything. But I'll explain that when we get there. So on stage 3, we come up against Usohachi and Orobi. Against Usohachi and Orobi, we're going to use the Leo special to remove the 3 turns of chain lock that they give. It's like a 1.1 times chain lock, which is very, very annoying to get around. And then we can just use one of the specials of our ViviBecca's, so then that way we can easily take this stage out. Now, ideally, you want to try and be in the quick variation of ViviBecca, whoever special you use. That way you can just do more damage on this particular stage against Zoro. So against Zoro, he gives a full board of block orbs, 5 turns of gloom and 5 turns of bind on our top and middle row. So Hina can basically change all our orbs into matching, and she actually gives us cooldown as Zoro also rewinds our specials. Then we can use the Kobe special. Kobe's going to remove the bind and the despair, also give an attack buff, and Hina gives an orb buff, and with that we can actually take out Zoro pretty easily. Because we have so many quick units to get color affinity, as Vivi and Rebecca do give that color affinity buff built into their captain multiplier, it means that we can do quite a bit of damage. Moving on to the final stage against Franosuke, he is going to give us a full board of unfavorable slots. He puts up normal attacks only, so this whole fight, well, this whole piece of content doesn't have normal attacks only until we come up against Franosuke. And he also does 5 turns of Rainbow Shield. Now, if you change your orbs, Franosuke is actually just going to give you a full board of block orbs. And because you can only use 2 specials, which has been given back from the Usohachi and O'Robin stage, it makes it quite tricky to actually get around this particular piece of content, as you're just restricted to what specials you can use and how much damage you can output, as you do need to remove bind some way. And that's what makes V2 ViviBecca so good for this content, as they can not only give an attack and an orb boost, but they can also remove bind. On to the next team now. We are utilizing a double versus Kaido team. Now, this team only operates if you have the Caesar support. So if you don't have the Caesar support, you will need to try and find another way to get around the bind. You could possibly try use something like Blackbeard as your captain. That is an option. But I'm not 100% sure if that will be super effective, as you do need to try and find a way to fit in a shooter on this particular team. On the O'Robin and Usohachi stage, they give the 2 specials only debuff. And they, what else do they do? They give us 2 specials only, and they put up end of turn damage. With the Kaido verse ability, we can actually just take this stage out with that verse ability, making it very, very easy, but also getting the carryover of that verse ability against Zoro. So against Zoro, he gives us a full board of block orbs, and he gives us bind and despair. With the support of Rayleigh on our Zoro and our Luffy, we can easily remove that. Then with the special of X-Drake, is that X-Drake? No, page 1. With the special of page 1, we can get our quick and our strength units cooldown, which is this entire team, and then we can finish it off with the Kaido special. So I actually stuffed that up. You're meant to use your friend Kaido special, as you do want to access the Caesar support on the final stage. So once again, we have the Rayleigh special to remove the bind and despair. We can use the page 1 special to give ourselves cooldowns, and we can use our friend Kaido to give us a full board of T&D orbs, as well as give us an attack buff. With the verse ability of Kaido, we can definitely take Zoro out easy peasy, but it is very important that you do have one of the verse abilities live by this particular point, as you do need that extra damage to take out Zoro. Otherwise, you are going to be stuck on this particular stage. You won't have an orb boost for the final stage, and it's just going to be a little bit more tricky than it needs to be. But as you can see, with the Kaido smash, it's like 7 million damage, which is just absolutely insane. Onto the final stage against Franosuke now. He is going to bind our bottom and middle row. He's also going to put up the 5 turns of Rainbow Shield. And once again, we can remove this with ViviBecca, but we can also use their switch ability to give us a chain lock. With the carryover of the orb boost that Kaido provides, we can use the other our Kaido special. Our Kaido is going to give us an attack boost, and he's also going to remove the bind with the Caesar support. With the switch ability of ViviBecca, we can also guarantee ourselves an orb on our Corazon, as Corazon is going to have color affinity as well. And then when we switch with our Luffy and Zoro, we can get a matching orb for them as well. And with that, we can take out Franosuke fairly easily and do quite a bit of damage just with ViviBecca and Corazon on the final shots. Boom. So 26 mil, easy peasy. I think Franosuke has around 40 million HP, so you do need to make sure you can do that much damage. Moving on to the next team now, we are utilizing a Shanks Crew team, my boy, with a friend V2 ViviBecca. On stage 3, we get the chain lock from Usohachi, as well as the end of turn damage and the 2 specials only. This is where we can utilize the support of Markano to remove that. But I just wanted to show that you could also use the page 1. Is it page 1 or X-Drake? The X-Drake support on Basil Hawkins here to remove 2 turns of it. With Basil Hawkins, earlier in the run, you can actually just sort of accumulate damage over time, as ViviBecca have a lot of healing. You can also use the switch ability of our V1 ViviBecca to get a little bit more healing as well. And the more damage you take, as you can see, the more tap time you get. So that chain lock is not really that big of an issue, as the tap timing is just so significant provided on how much damage you take in the previous stages. Onto the next stage, we come up against Zoro. Now against Zoro, he gives us a full board of block orbs, which we can change with Hina, as well as getting our cooldowns. And with the support of the Straw Hats, we can remove the Bind and the Despair. Then we can use our Shanks Crew special to get a 3.5 times chain lock, and with the switch ability of Shanks Crew, we can also get a 1.5 times attack boost. Make sure you are the quick variation of ViviBecca before you move into the next stage, as you do want to switch into both Rebecca and Vivi, respectively, the dex variation of both V1 and V2. So then that way you can just do a lot more damage to Franosuke himself. We do need to remove the Rainbow Shield, so we are going to be utilizing the special of Vivi and Rebecca, but as I mentioned in the intro, you could probably replace them with someone like Alvida, as you don't really need that 2.5 times chain lock or the orb manipulation. As you can see, we don't even use Orobi's special in this entire run. She's literally there just for the support of the Straw Hats, and if you don't have that Orobi, you just basically replace her with any cerebral striker that can utilize a character that has a support that can remove Bind and Despair. Someone like Luffy should work fine. So moving on to the final team now, we are using a Luffy, Sanji, and Goldie Roger team. So on stage 3 against Usohachi and Robin, we are going to remove the chain lock by utilizing the Markano support on our Shanks. Now, if you guys don't have that Markano support, I do imagine that you could use the Cracker special here to get the color affinity and the chain buff. As on the next turn when we use his special, we just do so much damage, and you should be able to kill this entire stage in one turn, which doesn't, it seems more daunting than it actually is. If I attacked in the right order there, I would have easily taken this stage out. And with the Cracker special, you wouldn't have had any issues whatsoever. Basically just getting that color affinity to make sure that you take out Usohachi. You do need to make sure you take out Usohachi, otherwise the Corazon support will proc, remove the paralysis that he inflicts, and then on this particular stage, you'll be stuck with the Despair and the Bind. Now, you don't really need someone that can remove Despair and Bind like Corazon can. You could easily just use someone that just removes Bind, as Roger actually removes Despair himself. So on the first turn, we are just going to use the Cracker special. Cracker gives us the chain buff and the color affinity, and then we're just going to pass a turn. On stage 2, Zoro's actually going to use the hunger debuff, but with Luffy, Sanji, they have the hunger debuff limit break, so they can remove the 2 turns very easily. And if you can't remove both turns, you can then switch, get the meat orb, and then remove it that way. What you want to do then is use the Law special for the 2.25 times attack orb boost, the chain lock, and then with the special of Roger, we can get the 3 times attack as well as carry that orb boost into the next stage. Now, as you can see, like, you do so much damage on this particular stage that I really don't think that the Cracker special is actually essential. So if you need to use it on the Usohachi stage, feel free to use it there, as Shanks can also remove 2 turns of chain locks himself. On this final stage, we are going to basically switch with our Luffy, Sanji, then we're going to use their special to give us a full border orbs and a 2.5 times attack boost, so we are over max HP. Because we rotate our orbs though, we are going to cop the block orbs, but with the Nami support, we can actually remove the Bind. With the Vivi Rebecca's switch ability, we get a chain lock, as well as their special giving color affinity and removing the Rainbow Shield. And then finally, we can finish it off with Goldie Roger's super typing. Goldie Roger's super typing here is absolutely amazing because it doesn't actually trigger Franky's interrupt, and that way we can easily take out Franky, no issues whatsoever. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me, and if you are new to the channel, hit the big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, make sure to enjoy the rest of your day. Tune in to the stream tomorrow for more teams, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Lights!